I know most of you already know about my son and his journey through recovery from addiction. What I want to share today is my journey, our journey of how we got here. It's not a story about a perfect plan or a flawless process. It's a story about surrender, obedience, and God's power to transform lives. When we first started noticing signs my son was in trouble, we took him to the doctor. And the doctor very seriously looked at me and he said, the only way that he is going to get through this is by family around him. If one family member can take him in and walk him through the healing process, we'll see success here. Those words, they hit me like a ton of bricks. I wasn't ready. I wasn't equipped. I'm thinking, what? Don't we have systems in place for this? But the doctor reassured me, our systems are broken. There's not a high success rate. The best way through for him is with family. I had my own struggles. I loved my wine. I loved my freedom. I loved living a life that now looking back wasn't aligned with the will of God, but I was comfortable in it nonetheless. I had to make a decision that terrified me. I had to surrender all of my habits, my lifestyle, all that was in me that wasn't of God. I had to lay it down. And that's scary. That's not easy. If my son was going to have a chance, I needed to create a home that was safe, protective, 100% alcohol and drug free. I had to let go of the people, the places, and the things that distracted me from doing the mission that God was calling me to. And let me tell you, it was hard. I wrestled with it. I cried over it. I begged God for anybody else to do this other than me. I felt so inadequate. So I prayed. I sought God's guidance. And what I realized was, before God can use me to bring healing to my son, God needed to heal me. This past year has been the hardest thing I have ever done, but it's also been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Many times over the course of this year, my son has come to me and he said, Mom, thank you. You saved my life. But in all honesty, God used him to save my life too. You see, my path of destruction may not have been as obvious or as dangerous as his was, but it was still a path that led me away from God. And through this process, God didn't only restore my son, he restored me too. He gave me a purpose greater than myself. He brought me to my knees so I could stand strong in him. Helping my son meant creating a home of prayer, peace, protection. It meant trusting God every step of the way. Even when I felt like I had nothing left to give. And today, I can say with full confidence that there are 2 lives that have been restored and brought closer to God through this. If you are in a place where you're facing something impossible, I want you to know this. God will equip you. You just have to trust him. Surrender everything to him and let him work in and through you. This is not just a testimony of what God has done in my son's life. It's a testimony of what he's done in my life too. And for that, I will be forever grateful. God is good.